Do you have tendonitis or ligament pain or any other connective tissue thing going on in your knees or your elbows or your shoulder? If so, take a look at this. On the left, you're looking at the pre-season MRI scan of a college soccer player's knee. On the right, you're seeing the post-season MRI of the knee. Do you notice the difference in her ACL? It's bigger, it's thicker. What you're seeing here is a very clear training effect on connective tissues. All the other people studied in this particular research paper had a similar result, about a 10% increase in volume. What you can't see is probably even more remarkable is the increase in strength and elasticity, which is not going to be visible to the naked eye, but is almost certainly there. So what does this mean for you? Well, maybe you're a runner or a weekend cyclist, maybe you like rock climbing or hiking, and when you scroll through your newsfeed, inevitably you see some of these crazy athletes. And you see an ultra runner who's doing more volume in one day than you do in 1 month. You see a rock climber who's just scaling the wall at the gym over and over, and you're wondering, how do their elbows and their shoulders put up with that amount of load? Maybe you see a pickleball player in your local area who's able to play back-to-back all through the weekend through a tournament. And again, you just can't imagine your rotator cuff muscles and tendons being able to manage that. What that often comes down to is a difference in connective tissue strength and resilience. Hey, my name's Lucas. I'm a yoga teacher and a trainer. I've obviously put a bunch of effort into my joints. Lots of work on hydration and mobility. I figured my knees are bulletproof. My elbows and shoulders are super solid. And then I started experimenting with new activities like running, a little bit of cycling, some rock climbing. And I found, probably like you, that I got little twinges. Tendonitis in my knee, a tweak in my inner elbow, and I couldn't imagine, how could this happen? Turns out that strength is very sport specific, and this is one of the common reasons that when people start something new, they get injured. Here's a really common scenario. Let's use a really common example so that we can remember how this works. If you were to go to the gym and you're brand new to weightlifting and you started doing bicep curls, within 7 or 10 days, you'll notice you'll be able to add plates really quickly. It's really rewarding. It's called newbie gains. If you've never done it before, you'll literally be stronger in a very short period of time, meaning your biceps are stronger and in many cases visibly larger in 7 to 14 days. So your biceps are stronger. However, where your biceps attach to the bone, the biceps tendon, hasn't really changed at all. Why? Well, your connective tissues, your tendons and ligaments and cartilage, they're way less metabolically active. So whereas your muscles can start to change in days, your connective tissues really take months. Many people blame injuries on bad form or ego lifting or going too hard, and there's certainly some of that. But a lot of times what happens is people are just trying to figure out how they can feel so strong in their muscles yet so weak in their joints. And the fact that they don't give themselves enough time to acclimate is really one of the biggest reasons why. So what can you do? Well, if you have tendonitis or a ligament problem right now, or if you just like to bulletproof your joints, I'd like to share with you a very conservative, very simple protocol you can use at home. You don't have to stop doing what you're doing. This should be a supplement to whatever other form of fitness you do, but here's how it works. We'll spend the first month working on isometric poses, the second month on eccentric, so the negative, and then the third month, we will work on eccentric and concentric combined. Now, this is very slow, very conservative. It's a 3-month protocol, but here's the good thing. It just takes 5 minutes per day, and you do it 2 times per week. So we're talking about 10 minutes per week. For the sake of simplicity today, we'll look at knees, we'll look at elbows, and we'll look at shoulders, but you could apply the same protocol, the same logic to really any joint in your body. Before we get started, to support the channel and to get updated when I publish every week, please hit subscribe down below. Just takes a moment, means a lot to support me. If you'd like to download a PDF reference for all the exercises we'll cover, you'll find that down below in the description as well. Let's get started. Our first pose will focus on our knee, specifically our quadriceps and patellar tendons. Month 1 is isometric training, like this at the wall with your knees over your ankles, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 5 minutes total. If those are too easy, put a weight in your hand so you can still do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and you don't have to sit there forever. Month 2, eccentric training. Lower down to the count of 5, 4, knee goes over your big toe, 3, 2, and now tap your knee down, tap your fingers down, make your way back up to stand, and switch. 5 reps per side, 5 sets in total. Month 3, we go both down and up. So we'll integrate concentric training into the movement. We go down for 3, 2, 1, but instead of tapping, we make our way all the way back up, and we lower down 3, 2, 1. Hover over the ground, and then all the way back up. 5 reps per side, 5 sets in total. Next, we'll look at our elbow, specifically the flexor tendons. The same thing would apply to our extensor tendons, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll just look at the flexor tendons for today. You need something to hold on to. Little hand weights like this are really, really effective, especially if you hold them out longwise and plant your elbow down on your knee. It allows you to apply load pretty equally and pretty consistently to those flexor tendons here on the inside of your elbow. If you don't have weights like this, you can also use a water bottle, especially if you have some type of climber's elbow or pain on the inside of your elbow. If you have a long, heavy pole or rod, that can work as well too. When something sticks out, it often adds quite a bit of load to the exercise. Just like before, we'll start off with eccentric training. I'll do both at the same time for the sake of time, meaning when you're practicing at home, so things stay simple. For the first month, twice a week, it just takes 5 minutes. Here's what I'll do. I'll plant my elbows. I'll very gently flex my wrists and load up those tendons, and I'll hold here for 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off. 30 seconds on and 30 seconds off. That's month 1. Month number 2, we'll move into eccentric training. Same weight, same position as before, plant your elbow. I do need to do one at a time, so I can use this hand for an assist, but essentially I'll flex my wrist, I'll hold, and I'll lower down slowly to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now I assist on the concentric portion, and I lower down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I assist, and I lower down. 5 reps per side, 5 sets in total. 5 reps per side, 5 sets in total. You very likely will need to up the weight pretty quickly. These are little 3-kilo weights. You might need to add more, and you can certainly do this with a dumbbell in your hand. For the third exercise, we'll include the concentric as well as the eccentric movement. So we'll come up to the count of 1 and lower down to the count of 3, and we can do both at the same time for this final month of our elbow tendon strengthening protocol. I'll plant both my elbows, and I'll flex my wrists, and I'll lower down 3, 2, 1, and I'll flex my wrists, and I'll lower down 3, 2, 1. I'll flex my wrists. You get the idea. 3, 2, 1. I'll do 5 reps, 5 sets in total. 5 reps and 5 sets in total. Very quickly, you'll need to use bigger weight. You can certainly do these with dumbbells and increase the weight over time. Lastly, let's work on our biceps tendon. This is the easiest of the 3 to isolate. You do need a dumbbell to hold on to, or you need something pretty heavy. You don't want this to be anywhere near what you would normally use for training. At least 40, if not even 20% of your max is what you're looking for. And for our first month, our isometric training, you'll plant your elbow and you'll lower down almost all the way. So you're angled just before your arm is straight, and we'll hold here 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, 30 seconds on, and 30 seconds off. If this feels too gentle, add more load, but be careful. It's a different way to train. For our final month, our third month, we'll work on eccentric training, which is essentially the negative of a bicep curl. So you start curled, you lower down, but we'll lower down very slowly to the count of 5. Let me show you what it looks like. I'll plant my elbow so it's braced, and I'll help myself lift, and then I'll lower down to the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Resist the urge, but you'd like to assist back up, and we'll lower down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do 5 reps per side and 5 sets in total. Twice a week. It takes about 5 minutes. Now for the final phase, we'll work on both concentric and eccentric. This is essentially a bicep curl. Nothing really extraordinary here, but you do want to titrate it, meaning make sure that you're feeling pain-free and things are all moving well. But assuming everything's feeling good, you move right back into a normal bicep curl. Well, maybe you come up to the count of 1 and you lower down 3, 2, 1. You curl for 1 and you lower down 3, 2, 1. We'll do 5 reps per arm, 5 sets in total, still working with 30-40% of your max weight, so you're still using this as a corrective exercise. Here's a helpful analogy to think about your connective tissue strength in your joints. If you imagine today you were chopping wood for the first time and you went out with a friend who'd been chopping wood for all summer, many, many months, and you went out and chopped wood, within 20 or 30 minutes, if you've never done it before, your hand would be raw and sore and you'd have to either put on gloves or take a break. But if you took a break and you came back a few days later and you again spent some time chopping wood, little by little, you'd build up calluses and strength. Your friend, of course, can keep chopping wood much, much longer than you because his hands are already calloused. Now, we don't build calluses inside our knees or our shoulders or elbows, but the training effect, the strengthening, the increased elasticity, and maybe, like we talked about, even increase in volume, it happens very similar to calluses forming on your hands. But it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen as quick as muscle development. Be patient, commit to 3-month blocks, and hopefully you'll see some great results. Thanks so much for joining me here. If you'd like more videos, hit subscribe down below. I release a video every week. To get the PDF reference for everything we talked about, you'll find that in the description below. I have a program called YOGABODY Daily. Helps you live your best life in the second half. If you'd like to learn more about that, visit yogabody.com, and I'll see you in the next video.